when his form was falling apart, the barn's form was falling apart as well. Nobody was running from that barn. And now the barn is back to winning again. They won at Saratoga, and they're doing well like they normally do. So I think Indian Counselor, if he can find that form in the past, and when he was good, he's a horse that could be forward.
No question about it. He could be forward. He has races that will beat these horses, and you could not have said it better. This horse's form tailed off when the entire barn was off form.
And
He's a major
they
player
gave
in
him
here.
some time off. Race number, jeez.
Nice catch. You could use this. You could take my puck.
Race number 3. I mean, the truth of the race number 3 is that on the racetrack I've been dealing with Paris Lights. We'll take a look at Paris Lights last time at Oaklawn in the Love Sign. Paris Lights is probably going to win because she's the controlling speed, and Johnny's supposed to put her in the front end, and she's in a position to lead these on a merry chase. On a fair racetrack, I prefer Nona Madeline. On this track, I will say in this race, I thought she moved too soon, and it was a race that sort of, I'm not blaming Junior, but if you look at the way the race was run, it fell apart at the end. And I've never loved her. I didn't think her form this year has been that good, but she's probably the horse to beat as the main speed, and she does have recency.
Yeah. I was, as the main speed, I think like you said, the way this track is playing, I think you have to move horses up like this on a fair track. This would be Nona Madeline. It's part of the reason I put Espresso Shot second. I feel like they'll line up 5-2 here, and maybe the track can carry Espresso Shot. You know, she's been a filly that's come from the moon. She's also been a filly that's been on or close to leads, and I think it's going to line up 5-2. We'll see what Nona Madeline does off of the December layoff. It's a pretty lengthy layoff, 9 months, and
yeah, I don't like Espresso Shot. She may get a good trip in here. I don't think her form is good enough, but we'll see what happens with her. I picked her 4th. As far as Nona Madeline, we'll go back to the Summer Colony. If she runs the race she ran the Summer Colony, she's going to win this race. Now, the question whether or not that horse still exists remains to be seen. They bet her in the Summer Colony like she couldn't lose. All right, the Shoe V, she was bad, though. I mean, she wasn't being Latruska,
she
Royal
was
Flag.
favored in the Shoe V.
Well, she was supposed to be off a race, but she was bad. Then she came back, and she just got it done at Monmouth, and her form sort of declined, and obviously her race in the Go for One was terrible. Was it the wet track? Was she falling apart? I don't know. Do I trust her? No, I don't, but I will say one thing. Todd Pletcher, we're going to show you a stat, has got some outstanding numbers. If you want to put that stat up, Francisco. His numbers off of layoffs and dirt routes, and don't think it's just out of town because he's 9 for 31 at Naira with a $2.07 ROI. So these horses come back off layoffs in these races, and they run for the most part. So I was hoping she'd get back, and I just thought if she did, she was a better horse than Paris Lights. But we'll see. She's questionable.
Yeah. She's questionable off the layoff. Paris Lights questionable because I don't disagree with you. Her form this year just has not been very good.
What do you do with Mrs. Orb? She was awful last time. I know the race got wired, but she didn't run at all in that race. Now, you could argue that, you know, if you looked at the 1 1/8 dirt races at Saratoga, the vast majority, I think close to half of them, if not more, were won by the speed. So it did not help closers in that race. But my gosh, she couldn't even. She just didn't run at all.
She didn't run 2 steps.
Yeah.
She didn't run 2 steps as the 7-5 favorite. And it's troublesome.
Yeah, I agree.
It's troublesome.
But she obviously has form that gives her a chance to get a piece in here. Race number 4. Race number 4. I think this is one where you and I agreed. We'll take a look at the First Law Kawaimia River for all you Kawhi Leonard fans race, and you can tell us why you prefer Kawaimia River, who finished a length 3/4 behind First Law.
Yeah, Kawaimia River coming off the January break. Didn't have the best of beginnings. Right in here is going to, I like the word pause because it wasn't really a steady. It was just a little apprehensive, and then in here again, Source just doesn't want to go inside. I don't think.
Doesn't want to go inside.
That's it, right? I mean, that's it.
Yeah, she actually, she also, you know, once she got at the outside of the clear, I mean, she ran by them in the gallop out for whatever that's worth. She came at the start, and she broke a step slow after hitting the gate a little bit. And I agree, you know, going through the inside didn't work. First Law is a very logical horse in this race, and she's sort of the other horse, and she had a bit of a trip last time. I don't agree with David's line. Is she really going to be a shorter price than First Law?
She's had less chances. I think people will see the
It's not like
quote-unquote trouble.
But First Law has been a big price in a race, and finally in a race where he's the logical horse to beat. I think
Kawaimia River would be the favorite.
Well, I would bet First Law then, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think First Law is supposed to be favored in this race over Kawaimia River. I would, if those were the odds, and that's the problem with making picks in advance. You don't really know the odds.
Of course not.
What about Charleston Strong off the claim by Mike Maker? Don't you find that a little bit interesting? I know the horse was bad last time, but this horse's first turf race on June 5th, this horse actually ran okay. It was with the track, but ran against some pretty good horses in Ranger Fox and Soft Power. Ranger Fox hasn't gone anywhere since, after winning that maiden race, and Soft Power we haven't seen since then. But this is a little bit of an interesting horse to maybe get resurrected by Mike Maker.
I was a little surprised they didn't try this horse because it appeared to me after his 2 route races last year and the route race this year that he just had some distance issues. It surprised me that they didn't try him in one more special weight race off of that June 5th race, sprinting. They dropped him in for the tag. Yeah, I mean, I guess he's a little interesting for Maker first off the claim.
Yeah, I thought it was dangerous. Got a couple first-time starters. Advising consent down the inside. Worked 21 1/5. The 2-year-old sale over a year ago, a year and a half ago, actually. I thought it was a pretty good workout. It's not really particularly a turf pedigree, but sometimes these, the dam side, Tourist, obviously a turf horse. Luna Warrior, actually, I think the dam's a little bit better. She actually, the dam, I want to say, maybe ran 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. Does that sound right?
She could have.
Yeah, she won. Was in the Garden City. I think she win the Garden. There's some. Yeah, the dam has a good pedigree. I can barely read my chicken scratch, so maybe the 5 is the one that in a war front has more pedigree, probably of the 2 first-time starters. We'll see how it works out in race number 4. Be nice if I could read my handwriting.
Pick 6 time, race 5.
Pick 6 time it is in race number 5. Go ahead. I don't have a lot to say in this race.
I don't either. If Quantitative Breezing runs her last race, she is going to win.
Well, she was in a race that was very forward. I picked her. I don't love her in this race.
I don't love her either, but I think she's going to win. I took 1 shot against her. So I think it's important in here.
Take a shot. I mean, you took the co-favorite.
No, I took, right, well, yes.
Yeah, I mean.
The horse I picked, Seascape, comes out of a $32,000 straight 3-year-old race. There's only 2 4-year-olds in here: the 7 Creative Legacy and the 9 Quantitative Freezing. I think that's important because the 2 horses that Seascape, 2 of the horses that Seascape ran against last time, and Shake Shack and Spun d'Etat.
Shaker Shack.
Shaker Shack. I'm always going to think of a burger, Andy. Shaker Shack and Spun d'Etat are better than what's in here.
I guess. I'm worried about this horse claimed away from Robertino Diodoro. I found some stats, and they're pretty significant stats. Claimed away from Robertino Diodoro. That was a cue, Francisco. I know you're teaching the new guy, but teach him. There you go. These stats scare me.
That's a scary stat.
Those are horrendous numbers. Because
That's a
you're
lot
talking
of
about
horses.
a lot of horses claimed away from a guy who wins races, and they're coming back and winning 1 out of every 8 starts, and the ROI is that bad.
I know it has nothing to do with the conversation we're having, but are you surprised by the number of horses claimed away from this guy?
Well, no.
Because
where
plays
he's
the
running,
claiming
and
game?
he's playing in
I
probably
guess.
a lot of lower level claiming races and stuff. So no, I don't think it's. I mean, if you think about that
It's
number,
120 horses a year.
yeah,
It's a
but
lot.
that's every other racing day.
Yeah.
The fact he gets the horse claimed every other racing day, no, not that surprising. I mean,
Okay.
he goes to some meets like Oaklawn where there's probably a claiming frenzy. He might get 3 horses. He might get 10 horses claimed from a week at Oaklawn.
Yeah.
I mean,
Make a great point.
Yeah. So I mean, I know it's a big number, and yeah, it is.
It's a big number.
It's a crazy number, but I think if you start parsing it, it's not as surprising as
Okay.
it seems. When I first looked at it, I went, wow. Then I thought, I don't know. The other thing is, what percentage of his starters are in claiming races? And this is a guy who's got a lot of starters at the end of a year.
Yes.
And, he may be running a very high percentage in claiming races.
That's good. I don't think that's a great point, but that was a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. That scared me. That's why I didn't pick this horse on top, because I
Okay.
agree with you. I think she's coming out of a better race. As far as quantitative breezing, okay. What's the last winner? Baba?
Baba.
Oh, that was your horse. I picked her last time. You pick her every time she runs. You didn't like her last time. I liked her, and she finally won. Yeah, she ran, but it was a forward race. You know what I mean? So I think that the track was relatively fair. I don't know. Where did it come from? Did this horse really improve off the claim? Maybe Antonio Arriaga does a pretty good job. So maybe this is a horse that was the last horse in Brad Cox's barn and just got better for Antonio Arriaga. Doesn't have that many horses,
Right.
So maybe he did a better job, and that's why I went, because, here's a horse who's going to take money. Scott Alea. Look at the last race. I can't stand the race this horse is coming out of. And you have to can only cue so much, Francisco. You got to, Francisco, a big day for you. You're like the teacher in there. There you go. And I can't help but he's the second best Francisco in New York. I thought this race was awful. This horse comes out of. I know it's Rudy. Maybe the horse is improving, but the rest of this horse's races are atrocious.
Yeah, they're not very good. They're not very good at all. I really had nowhere else to go. I put this horse third off that last race, to be honest with you. I had Cause to Dream in there off the Bob Glaceras claim. I looked at Creative Legacy going to Gustavo Rodriguez. Caught a muddy track going long last time, but I don't know. This race, I spent a lot of time trying to find a stranger in here, and I just couldn't find anybody at the end of the day. Now, maybe there's somebody there. I think it's a good race. If you've got an idea on somebody that's kind of it's a little hidden, not a bad race to take a shot, kicking off the pick six. Late pick five after a quick break.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. Andy Serling, Anthony Stabile.
Didn't Nathan sound so much more professional than Francisco?
Did. I just felt a feeling of confidence from
Me too.
him that
Like
I
he
just don't get from Francisco.
Yeah.
No, I think.
Love it.
I know the new guy seems like he's immediately better than Francisco.
It's amazing.
Race number 6, we'll find out as I get ready to abuse him. We've really set him up for a fall here. The Devil or Angel, the horse you have on top, is the horse to beat. We'll take a look at his last race at.
We have on top.
No, my pick should be 12-2-7-8 here.
They have them
Guys,
inverted.
My pick should be 12-2-7-8 in this race, as they were sent. Anyhow.
Did everything but win here, right?
Well, got a perfect trip.
Yeah, but did everything but win.
I agree.
First time,
The other horse had experience.
I always think they're going to improve second time out. And
I got a tip on the other donk horse, by the way.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow, Andy with a tip.
Well, I ignore tips. The Sun King Dam. Yeah, actually, the Dam was 1 for 27 on the turf on the 3. Big tip for my man on the way out. I have no argument with Devil or Angel. The problem is that, what kind of price are you going to get in this horse?
Not much.
Yeah, and the 12, Buck or 2, who gets post 11, Frivolous Buck. I mean, I have to pick the horses whose, dams I have pictures up in my office.
Of course.
The winner's circle. And this horse, Frivolous Buck, you don't remember, ran for George Weaver. She was 4 for 23 lifetime, one of $200,000 on the turf. She produced 3 falls to try the turf. 2 of them won, including a horse whose name, something Buck.
The horse that's running now, right?
Probably.
Dancing Buck?
Dancing Buck. Yeah, no, Dancing, it's running today.
Yeah.
The horse is running in today's next race.
Yeah.
Dancing Buck, exactly. This horse is a
Dancing
full
Buck.
Dancing Buck, so just look at the next race.
Here's Dancing Buck.
What are we doing here,
Wait,
guys?
no.
Guys,
That's the next race.
guys, we're getting a little getting excited. Go back. We don't need to see that. We're going to see that as we get to the 7th race. But that was Dancing Buck, but we'll get to Dancing Buck. Just take it easy.
I do like the fact that Nathan heard Dancing Buck and played the...
I agree.
I
agree. He's
on the
obviously
game.
paying attention, which we
Yes.
don't know if Francisco ever has done.
Ever. Dancing Buck.
After Brachmaninoff as well. Sort of says pedigree. Michelle Nevin, interestingly enough, 3 for 12 with 7 hitting the board with 2-year-old first-time stars in turf sprints over the last 5 years, and ROI of $8.55. So, sure, horse has been running. This horse has pedigree. I'll take a chance.
Okay. Yeah.
Anybody else here we like?
Well,
What about McCart? By the way, that Mike Maker horse yesterday that paid $37. I would have picked that horse on top. I just wanted to take the one that would be a much bigger price. And my horse, the other horse, was a bigger price, but not by much.
you've had some great opinions the first few days
Thanks.
back.
How is that horse that price? I don't really think liking that horse was particularly smart. That horse had tons of pedigree.
You made a good case here yesterday for it not being a field where you needed to fear anyone. And you would think off of that, Mike Baker, first-time turf, would have taken some money.
David, in the worst 10-to-1 morning line, I thought that was a pipe dream.
Yeah, that scared a couple of friends. A couple of friends of mine called me after the race. They're like, Andy made some good points about this, but doesn't the fact that the horse was 17-1 scare you? And
Horses get lost.
I guess.
Horses get lost.
I guess.
His
horses usually don't, though.
Well, he has been a little cold since the first, 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks of Saratoga. His barn's been a little cold. I mean, you can't keep winning like that. I've got McCart in there. The dam was 2 for 6 in the turf and was okay, and this is a first foal. And those Klimps, Klimt, and I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing Three Diamonds, Kirk Wyckoff running this horse on the turf, is Klimt won, I think, with 2 firsters on turf sprints at Saratoga. So I think that's worth noting. Kirk Wyckoff, the man who made Stabile cry. I really wish that I had a video, the look on Stabile's face when he got the hole-in-one in the first hole. He was our partner in our miniature golf match up in Saratoga. He got and he got 3 hole-in-ones in the first. That was really one of the great, my favorite, maybe the entire summer, was the look at you were walking around that course like seriously, like you were going to the executioner, like they were going to carry you down.
In what was a forgettable summer for me, that was if we didn't go back to Nove for lunch.
Louis Laz, your partner.
Happy birthday, by the way, Louis Laz.
Louis Lasner's birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Yeah,
Louis.
a great
we
man.
didn't go back to Nove for the
that lunch was good.
How good was lunch?
He kept saying to me, I can't believe Stabile kept saying these guys are bringing a knife to a gunfight. This guy's an idiot. He kept going. This guy's killing us. It really was funny.
They had their own vests, their own hat, and Kirk
I got that. I kept that vest.
It
was a nice vest.
And the ball. Where is the ball, by the way?
I don't know. I got a Three Diamonds vest. I don't know. There's no Klarovich vests. I haven't got a vest for them. What's up with that? It's not right. Anyhow, race number 7. Now that we're in race number 7, we'll take a look at the Dancing Buck.
Again.
I thought you might pick Dancing Buck in here. That's why I put it first, actually.
I thought about it.
Because I think if you look at Dancing Buck, I know that Dr. Blute probably should have won that race. But to be fair, he also, you could argue, moved a little soon in this race. Not a bad ride as much as the way the race played out, it kind of fell apart at the end. I thought it was actually a good ride by Manny. The race was coming apart at the end. Last time out, something clearly went wrong. Was it 7 furlongs? I don't know. He ran so badly. And now he's been off for 3 months. It kind of has the look of something went wrong and Michelle's waiting. I think he's very dangerous in here.
I don't disagree. And I thought about putting him on top. I thought about putting Call Me Harry on top.
There's a lot of horses you could put on top of this race.
There are a lot of horses you could put on top in this race. Ultimately, I feel like when a horse like Scuttlebuzz, who shows up every single time in turf sprints, I mean, it's all he does.
We'll take a look at his win 2 races.
It's all he does is show up. Am I wrong? You know what I mean? Am I wrong?
Here's the problem with Scuttlebuzz in this race. It's multifold. One is, what kind of trip is he going to get?
He's going to get the trip he always gets. I know.
But the problem with that is on this turf course,
he's got no chance.
No, not that he has no chance. It mitigates his chances.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, to be fair, isn't this a tougher bunch? And you know I like this horse.
Probably
Isn't this a tougher bunch?
But he just shows up, Andy.
I like this horse, and I agree. He doesn't need a fast pace. He closes into moderate paces, and he's supposed to get pace in this race.
He's going to have to overcome the bias. But like you said, he has overcome slow paces.
Biases, but biases are different than slow paces.
I got it. I know it's a different story.
From that post, if he drew the rail, and I thought it would be very easy for Jose to save ground and angle out, I might have picked him. But that concerns me a little bit in here.
Well, he may listen. Jose may have to, and I don't want to say rip him back, but there's enough speed in here that I think he can work out a trip to get over.
Well, there is speed in here.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Call Me Harry. All right. Here's my theory on Call Me Harry.
This is kind of do or die day, right?
Well, there is a realistic chance that he just can't run it all anymore.
Yeah.
But somebody's going to have to explain to me who the heck decided when John Kimmel took over his training that he was a closing sprinter. Because this horse's talent was that he had significant speed, and he's also won a race rating, so he doesn't need the lead to win. But he is supposed to be forward here, and Luis Saez being on him, he's supposed to be aggressive, and he's supposed to, if somebody else outruns him, he's supposed to seize the rail and stay in the race.
Story, yep.
Now, maybe he has no speed anymore, but why the heck would you take over the training of a horse that used his speed as a weapon and used it effectively, and suddenly he's coming from 10 lengths behind every time? It makes no... He didn't even show any speed last time on going a mile. What's going on here?
That is, I think...
Is this Joel who's deciding?
That's the problematic race. The problematic race is the race last time where he draws the outside on
He
the
made
inner at
no
Saratoga,
attempt
and there was
whatsoever.
no attempt made. Now, maybe there's no attempt being made because when he went to the bench, he lost his speed.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't
get
either.
why you would take the speed out of a horse in a game where nobody wants has speed.
And I agree with you. The fact that Luis Saez is on this horse today.
Well, Joel's out of town.
No, I understand that.
Big weekend in Canada
but
for
the
Joel.
fact
He didn't
that-
want to come back after
the
just one
fact
day.
and here's the other thing.
Here's the
Luis
other thing.
Saez, the last 2
Does that
years.
count as a who's the
No,
who's the
on
thing?
the short form. When John Kimmel reaches out for Luis Saez, they're 4 for 9 with a 5.54 ROI.
I just thought that it's time to see if he has some speed. I have no problem. If he loses,
And if Luis Saez is on him, we're going to find. You would imagine we're going to find out if he has some speed today. If
I
there's any
don't
speed
understand
left.
why they've just taken it away from him. And he's got races when he had speed that can beat this field. His price will be fair. This is a very interesting race. Because
is.
honestly, you looked at this race. How about Alfalfa? First time for Charlie
Nothing wrong
Baker.
with him.
I'm not going to just leave a horse that has a little bit of ability. Discretionary Mark's in very good form. He could
Very
be
good
forward in
form.
this race. He could be the inside speed
I'll
in this
tell you
race.
what. You know who?
How about Opt?
Well, if
How about
they
Valmont?
hit up front, Opt can come running. Now I know
Opt absolutely has a
3/4
chance.
might be a little too short for him, but if this thing incinerates, listen. The key,
No,
the
he
key
can
to the
absolutely at least
closers,
get a piece.
the key to the closers here is they're going to have to try to save some ground.
Yeah.
You're going to fight
but
for
if the pace
position
gets
along
hot,
the inside.
it's a very interesting race. And I think there's a lot of cases to be made for a lot of horses
Agreed.
in this race.
I agree.
Race number 8. Well, I knew that Anthony would pick
course.
Brattle House because he thinks that he thinks this horse is the second coming. We'll take a look at Brattle House here, winning last time out. I tell you what. She better hope that she's a little bit better than just beating Pendolino, because she's meeting a slightly tougher field than beating Pendolino.
Poor Pendolino. She is meeting a tougher field. I'm just hoping there's some blue sky here, to be honest with you.
When's she going to show it? She's had 3 starts,
well,
and she hasn't shown it
She's
yet.
a 3-year-old filly.
Okay, she still hasn't improved from one start to the
She's
next.
also had, obviously, some issues. She was gone 4 months. Now she's gone 5 months. Hard to keep her on the racetrack. When she is on the racetrack, she runs really well. She probably should have won the Maddie May. She let the winner come up the inside on her.
The winner's pretty good, too.
Yeah, I'm not saying she's not, but she also was on the better part of the racetrack and kind of gave up that position. Yeah, I mean, I know she's going to be the chalk in here, but to be honest with
No,
you,
she can win.
I've kind of had enough of the rest of these.
I
fillies.
I can't believe no Horatio de Paz off the claim with Courageous Girl. He actually isn't that good. He's only 1 for 12 off the claim, 1 for 10.
That
with
was the
dirt
problem.
horses.
The claim
Yeah.
numbers aren't great.
I'm going to bet off the claim. I'm going to bet Cartwheel.
Okay.
I hope Jose Lezcano and Merten Cantermazzi say, go, just go. She's best when she's on the front end. If they're aggressive, they can be in front in this race. She's got good races. No doubt her last race is a disaster. She's obviously got to improve from that. But her form in her prior 2 races is fast enough to win here, and I'd love to see them be aggressive and just send her. I took her off the claim. I thought she's a horse that can win this race on her best races, and she might look a little cheap. So they may, because they're going to go for the 2, and they may look a little bitter. I also, if the track were fair, I might have picked the 7 if I had a chance on top, because she was against it last time, moving outside in a day when the rail got very good. Miss Jimmy was right down the inside. Those were pretty good horses she ran against last time. She's in good form for Rob
She's
Falcone.
kind of against it again, right, though?
Maybe,
I'm going to
yeah.
tell you the horse that's a little bit of a wild card in here, and I know David has a 4-1 on the morning line. Frost Me.
We'll show her. I'm sorry. We'll show her winning 3 back.
Yeah, Frost Me is very interesting. She broke her maiden in the slop, going a mile on the 16th, and then she ran okay behind a filly in Laubin on a Prayer who got good last winter for Danny Velasquez. Her only race with Lasix was when she won this race that you're watching right here. This was off a 10-week break. She got the job done this day. Then they ran her into Maddie May in the mud. I know she won in the slop first time out, but I don't know how much she really likes the wet track. And then they tried her on the turf. Problem is, she won at a time when the barn was doing really well. The barn has tailed off significantly since the springtime. But, and this is a big but, I think this filly has some ability.
I agree with you.
And if I'm going to say, well, I think Brattle House has blue sky, I probably should have put her second.
I don't disagree. I agree. That's the thing I was thinking. I'm not sure she's that much different than Brattle House.
You might be right.
And do I trust the Clement barn more? Yeah, a little bit.
That
but,
was the
but I think
ultimate
you're getting
issue.
a horse that's going to be, and I agree. Was she going to be 4-1? I know it's a tough morning line. You can see with
It's a tough
David's
morning
line.
line.
It's a little bit tricky. I'm not sure. But I don't disagree. I think the same thing could be said. And you look at that race we showed, that race really kind of fits very well.
She's probably going to see. I would imagine because of the way the track is playing, she'll take a little bit more money than if I had a chance. Because if I had a chance, it's mitigated by the buy. So I would
Maybe the track
imagine
will
she
be
takes
fair
a little
today.
bit more money. If the track's fair today, then
I thought
yes.
the track was a little bit fairer yesterday
Okay.
than it was. The rail was still good. We'll see. It's a tricky race. I just didn't want to fall for Brattlhouse.
Okay.
So the 9th race, the Pebbles came
This
up with
is
a terrific
something, huh?
race. I have no argument that the Plum Ali is the horse to beat. And, it's not getting realistic because I actually think she has the talent to run with any of the 3-year-old fillies we've seen. I really do in general. I think it's the distance. And the other thing is, this is her second in the Wonder Again. She actually ran very well in this race because this race was dominated forward, inside, and she made a real run. She just was in 2 straight races that featured absolutely no pace whatsoever, and Santa Barbara could overcome it because she might be the best 3-year-old filly in the world. And, she couldn't overcome it last time, and she frankly ran fair last time. I also wonder if she's going to be better going shorter. This is a 1 1/8, but I just think her kick is going to be
It was a mile.
exaggerated. I'm saying the last,
the
the
last-
1 1/8.
right,
That race is a
that
1
race.
1/8. Today's a mile.
I'm with you, man. We did the Weekend Stakes preview presented by Naira Bets Friday night. Bobby Newman and I on HRRN, and that was the case I made. I don't think she's that far behind the fillies we've seen. I just think she may have some distance issues. And at the mile and a
I don't know
16th,
much. I think she's probably better at a mile. I think.
I would agree with that.
And the other thing is she's gotten lousy trips. I mean, the reality is she's been in situations that just have not been conducive to a running style, and she's just way the horse to beat in this race. I don't. There's a lot going on in this race, so I didn't want to pick her on top, but I think she's good. I'm married to picking Jordan's Leo. Now, I have no argument that it's like Andy. This horse is in a different world than she was in last time, though I'm not sure the horse she beat, Town Avenger, is that bad. I thought she was spectacular last time.
This was a heck of
This
an
was a track that was dominated by horses that were inside. She was never inside. The horse she dueled with, Miss Delicious, finished dead last.
Dead last.
This was a 1 1/8, not a mile. And she buried her. And I'll tell you something, Town Avenger didn't have an excuse. Javier gave her a great ride that day. He saved ground with her. He got over towards the inside. He saved ground. He angled out. This was an exceptional effort against the bias. And now she gets back to a mile. And I'd love to see Ramon just put her in the front. Outrun him early. Just go. Run like similar as you did last time, okay? Maybe she has to stalk somebody. Maybe she has to stalk, I suppose, well, with Mr. Karras out, I guess One Flash Drive could go, but if not, she can be clear. I don't know if she's good enough to beat these horses. Obviously, this is a big class test, but it's not like she ran a slow race, and she did it
No.
against the track. I've got to bet this horse. I have to give her a chance.
Andy, we talked about this briefly on Friday, right? Is there really a horse in here? I guess at this point, Love Struck has tailed such off form. And maybe Spirit of Bermuda.
Well,
but is there anybody in here you really would be stunned if they won?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Our Flash Drive won this race. I think this
You'd
is
be surprised if Our Flash Drive got loose on a lead and didn't stop?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if any of that happened.
Okay.
I don't know how the 9 isn't there, so I don't. If 9 falls down coming out of the gate, I suppose she's the main speed. The 3 Minone, I think, is very dangerous in here, and I want to look at her race against Runaway Rumor. And I know we can talk about her last race in a moment. Runaway Rumor has been very good, and obviously, she's a player in here as well.
Mm-hmm.
She shows up every time, but Minone ran the better race. Runaway Rumor got the clean run on the outside, and she blind switched Minone. No fault of Manny Franco. He was doing everything right. Sometimes she's getting a little unlucky. Minone should have won this race. She ran very well. At first, I thought maybe she's more of a sprinter type, but she ran so well in here, I'm not sure. A mile may be stretching it. But one thing's for sure, the 2-turn mile at Saratoga last time, she was bad. She didn't finish, but I think getting back to a 1-turn for her makes her very dangerous in this race.
She's certainly a player.
And the horse that you have second here, Nazuma.
I think she's very, very interesting.
Of course she is.
Very interesting cutting back. This was the race last
Who
time.
says she wants to go as far as
in
she
the
did last
Belmont
time?
Oaks Invitational was her first start beyond the 1 16th. She didn't have a 1 1/8 race. She didn't have a 1 3. The first start, and she did not run that badly behind Santa Barbara. She got beat less than 3 lengths of Santa Barbara. She made that little bit of a move on the far turn. Now she cuts back to a
Fielded
distance
bunch.
that she's supposed to relish, I would think. She gets her out Ortiz Jr.
Private purchase since her last race?
I'm sorry?
I just a private purchase since her last race.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
I think she's real. I thought about putting her on top, but I'm with like you. I have conviction that Plum Ali is going to excel cutting back in distance. And if I feel that way, I do think she's the best filling in the race.
I didn't like Keeper of Time, the horse that you have third in here.
Okay.
You know, I thought she had a very good trip last time, saving ground. I thought Tyler gave her an exceptional ride. And I know the race was sort of dominated forward in third draft. Obviously had a very good trip. She didn't even really finish last time. I thought there were better horses than her in here. You've got Spirit of Bermuda coming over from overseas. She's run against weaker horses if you look at the horses she ran against. So I'm a little skeptical, but this is a very, very good race.
Fun race.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm going to try it with Jordan's Leo, but no argument. Plum Ali is the one to beat, getting back on track for Christophe Clement. Race number 10. Race number 10 is a headache. You couldn't guess in a million years the replay I found. Okay, here's the replay I found. This is Isabella Sings, the Dam of Talus, in the 2016 Hillsborough at Tampa. Do you know what horse ran her down in this race?
Tepin's going to get her right on the money.
Tepin is going to nail. That's Isabella Sings in front by 10 in the backstretch, 5 or 6 turning for home, and that's Tepin that came and ran her down. So here's the question with Talus. Why the heck is Todd Pletcher running this horse so cheaply without even getting her on the turf? I know he's tried twice, but he tried at cheaper levels, or him. I mean, it's like, and let me say something. Todd Pletcher has outstanding numbers in maiden claimers first time on the turf. Outstanding numbers with that. But don't they feel like they've just sort of given up? Wouldn't you, with this pedigree, want to try the horse in a maiden special weight in the turf first?
We both put the horse third, but yeah, I don't disagree with you
at all. Another thing is that's a bad post. I mean, you got post 11, well, post 10.
Whatever it is. On the inner, the way the inner's been, that's anything outside of 5 is not really a good post.
Mike Luzzie's got to be aggressive with Isabella's Dream. I'm going to tell you something. If I'm John Velasquez, I'm trying as hard as I can to clear this field. And if he clears with her, he's going to be dangerous. But man, that pedigree this cheap, it's not like this horse didn't have plenty of chance to run to a maiden special weight. I don't know. I'm skeptical.
I'm with you. I mean, I got the horse third like you do.
And you've taken Bockley. Yeah, another one dropping mysteriously.
Took the other drop, blinkers, gelding, the whole kitchen sink. Yeah, I mean, this
horse ran well enough though to run. Maybe.
Yeah, this was a bit of a headache.
That horse can win. I agree, and I'd like to see Dylan be a little bit aggressive. I've got nothing against him. I got nothing against 12. A nice draw for Jorge Abreu's 2 horses for Klarovich here, getting posts 11 and 12.
Unbelievable, right?
You know, one of them was cheap, one was expensive. The one that was cheaper, Term Sheet, she's actually a half to a turf winner. And that's the one that I is riding, and Jose Lezcano's riding the other one, bless you. But actually, no, Hellman's a half to a turf winner as well. I meant to ask what Hellman was named for.
I would imagine mayonnaise.
Well, the Hellman family in Albany, you don't really know, Capital District. They own those movie theaters. The Hellman, the Hellman, the Center, and there was a third one. The Center, I believe, is the one that I saw Jaws in. You know, I miss the days of old. I mean, I like that you can buy tickets online and you can, get them way in advance. But there was something about the days of old when you would go to popular movies and you have to wait out in the street for like 3 hours. I remember waiting out in the street on 57th Street for like 2 hours to see Prizzi's Honor at the Sutton when it first opened with my friend Roger. And in that wait, this was 1985, we made the fateful decision to leave work on Friday, drive all the way to Alpine Valley Music Center, which is about an hour and a half north of Chicago, to go see the Dead that Saturday night. We left after work. I met him in Newark. He worked in Jersey. Drove all the way. Went to the Alpine show, drove back after the show. I went to work on Monday. It's a true story. I had to get to the show because I wasn't going to be able to see him again until that week in Saratoga and Hershey. It's a true story. But Prizzi's Honor.
I think I waited outside to see one movie.
Oh, Jaws. I waited for Jaws for hours when it first came out.
I'm embarrassed to say that the Howard Stern movie, Private Parts.
I like that movie.
We waited outside for about 2 hours.
I like the movie. So anyway, Flight to Paradise.
Yes.
I don't love Flight to Paradise, okay? But one thing that Flight to Paradise was himself a ridiculous wide trip last time out in a race that was won on the front end and draws a coveted inside. And I'm looking at the race and I'm thinking, who can realistically on paper win? I suppose blame it on Brutus. Could. The Dam didn't run that badly on the turf, so maybe that was a wild card. But you sort of look at the 8, the entry, and the 12. they're kind of the ones that you might want.
Right.
And I thought,
But the
this
problem,
one,
but the problem is they're the 8.
they're all draw. Yeah, and I don't
the
trust
entries
the
on the
8.
two
I don't
outside
trust
draws
the
and the
8
12 right
dropping
next
for
to them.
Barkley. And I thought, you know what? This horse draws inside. Javier's going to stay inside with the horse. I don't trust everybody else. They may get in trouble, and this horse is going to be a bigger price than those horses. So why don't I pick it? That's the only reason. I don't. Believe me, I have no great love for this horse, and I think the other horses may be better. But I think the trip might work out. So I took Flight to Paradise off the claim for Bobby Roboto. Well, I can't remember the last time he claimed a horse. I didn't even look it up. Anyhow, that's it. You know, Jaws came out before you were born. I started that.
70
years before. 75.
75?
75 or 76, yeah. Oh,
Same,
God.
same year as Rocky? Rocky was 76.
Rocky was Network, right?
76. Rocky,
Speaking
Rocky-
of movies I saw at the Sutton, I saw Network at the Sutton with the Sutton was a great theater, which some people may know, on 57th Street. All those theaters are gone. And I could look back on movies in the 70s that I saw in the city with my grandmother, and I could tell you every theater I went to.
Wow.
3 Days of the You ever see 3 Days of the Condor? Robert Redford, Faye Dunaway?
in
It's a
school
great
at
movie.
St. John's,
It's
I
a
did, yeah.
great movie. I saw that at the Lowe's Tower East. I love that theater in 72nd. You would walk in, and the balcony was right there, and then you went down to the main part. I miss balconies. It's that
I
one
saw so. I
theater
watched so
at,
many movies in college. One of my great advisor was a guy named Alan Seeger, who worked under Ian Fleming on all the Bond films.
Really?
Yeah, he was great. He was one of my favorite professors I ever had at St. John's. When I took a class once a year, so the 4 semesters I was there, and I probably watched 80 movies in that guy's classes over the course of the 4 years. That was one of them.
Yeah. I used to take the film class at Lehigh.
I caught
too.
the plane. I got automatic 10 points added to my grade. I caught the airplane in The Searchers. I was the first person to ever see the airplane in The Searchers.
I have not
in
seen that.
25 years. You see, it's in one of the plane scenes. Obviously, you see an airplane flying across the sky.
Really?
And the kid, I remember the guy who ran the projector. His name was Adam, and I was like, Adam, stop it! There's an airplane there, and he said for the first time in like 25 years, I was the first person
That's
to ever
great.
find the airplane.
The first time I saw The Searchers was at the old film forum when it was still on Watt Street. My friend Danny. Right.
Great movie. I mean, great movie.
Oh, everybody's seen The Searchers, right?
Yes.
Anyway, beautiful day at Belmont Park. Hope you can join us. If not, play along and play through Naira Bets. And even if you're here, you can play through Naira Bets. Go to NairaBets.com, use the promo code MATCH200, play with Naira Bets, support racing in New York, and keep the money in the game. We got plenty of good stuff at Naira Bets Day. We got the 100-100, opt in. Make sure you opt in every day for the bonuses. Bet $100 on each or more at Woodbine and Belmont. You get a $20 bonus. Win or lose or draw. Also, we've got a 20% win bonus through today on doubles, all doubles, capped at $50. Opt in. And finally, an opt-in, Lone Star, $2,000 pick 5 split. You might be the only one that hits it. You might get the whole thing. Play and opt in at Lone Star. 1 to 6 today. Races from here and Churchill as well. FS2 from 1 to 2. FS1 from 2 to 6.
Found out that there's a Dr. Hellman that was our friend Jerry Brown's cancer doctor.
Oh, well,
So
now we know.
Perhaps
I'm sure that's the reason.
I'm sure that's who he's named after.
There we go. All right. Good to know. All right. Have a wonderful day. Chris Griffin done a tremendous job calling this weekend, his last day. I've just jinxed him. He'll be up next with a reprise of the Scratches and Changes.